Good afternoon. The first item of business this afternoon is time for reflection. Our time for reflection leader today is the Reverend James-Allardyce, retired hospital chaplain, Wishaw-General-Hospital.
Presiding Officer, members of the Scottish Parliament, I worked as a hospital chaplain for 20 years, 18 of them as part-time and the last 2 full-time. Retirement has given me the opportunity to look back and reflect on some of the changes that have taken place over those 20 years. When I started, chaplaincy was almost exclusively the domain of the Church. Appointments were made by the local presbytery or diocese, and the appointments were invariably ministers or priests with perhaps a deacon or a nun to assist them. Very early in my career, I learned to read the signs that a patient didn't want to speak to a minister. You know, the kind of thing, the newspaper that's lifted up in front of the face, the feigned sleep, things like that. I suppose, really, I couldn't blame them. I was, after all, wearing my badge of office, the dog collar. And for my last 2 years, all that changed. I stopped wearing my collar. Chaplaincy is now, of course, part of the NHS in Scotland and an associated healthcare profession. And I have no doubt that the changes that have been made to chaplaincy, or to give it its proper name, spiritual care, have made a difference to patients and staff alike. To have someone who is a professional listener on hand to spend time with you can make the long day in hospital a bit more bearable. Staff, too, can confide in their chaplain, knowing that what they say is kept in confidence. Religious needs can also be taken care of either by the chaplain or by the person's own religious representative. Where do we go now? The next direction is towards person-centred care. We have to recognise that each patient is an individual and that one size of spiritual care doesn't fit all. Similarly, we must continue to acknowledge that each individual is part of our society, so spiritual care must reflect both individualism and collectivity. So spiritual care can prove to be invaluable as other healthcare professions become more and more involved with the practicalities of easing the medical condition of the patient. An individual who is able to spend time listening to a patient's concerns and to sympathise with the patient, and who is also able to communicate that patient's concerns to the medical staff, surely will make a difference to the patient's well-being. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move to topical questions. Can I say to members, first of all, that for question